real talk with the full Flashpoint fam. Get with it.
From hot takes to belly laughs, the crew is locked in and ready.
From debates that might get a little spicy, including all VIP members.
This is where vibes meets voice, jokes meets truth, and we talk things.
We are here to get real.
It's raw, it's real, and it's about time.
Small island, but big conversations.
This is Flash Talks, the Uncut Edition. Flash Farm. What are the things then now?
Real people, real voices, real conversations.
Flash Talk, the Uncut Edition, at 7 p.m. every Thursday, right here on Flashpoint.
Good night, Flash Fam. Tonight's talk is not for the faint of heart at all. Because we're diving into a topic that has to look at some of the most toxic games people play in relationships. We're talking about love bombing, breadcrumbing, and gaslighting. Now, you hear these terms, and some persons may be aware of what they are, while some may be wondering, what is Nicola talking about? So let me give you the gist. So we have love bombing, and that's the over-the-top showering of affection that feels sweet at first, but might just be manipulation wrapped in roses. Then we have breadcrumbing. This is when someone gives you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never give you the full loaf. So they come and, they say hello, and then you don't hear from them. You text them, they take forever to text back. And then they disappear for a week or two, and then they'll be like, hey, like nothing happened. For sure, that we call it breadcrumbing. Then we have gaslighting. Making you question your own reality until you don't know what's up or down, making you start to question if you're going cuckoo or if you're imagining things, or is this actually real? So here's the question for tonight. Are these red flags we ignore, or just the new dating normal? Is this normal? Well, tonight we're going to have the discussion, and I'm hoping that you will join me. I'm hoping that you will share your thoughts online, as it will just be myself talking with you tonight. So I'm hoping that you will become engaged in the conversation. Now, as we ponder this question, we will take a short break as you listen to this beautiful song called Love Can Build a Bridge, and we will be right back.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we are putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But Hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman's Got Talent.
Gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
So tonight we are looking at the topic love bombing, breadcrumbing, and gaslighting. And based on the song we just heard, I will walk across the desert. Love can build a bridge. So is the song giving love bombing, or is it showing genuine love? Well, as we go through the conversation, we will find out. As a matter of fact, this is one of the songs I grew up listening to. Love can build a bridge. So we're going to continue with the conversation. And like I said before, it will be you and I will be having the conversation tonight. And I want to hear from you. I want you to put your thoughts in the chat. And we are talking about love bombing, gaslighting, breadcrumbing. And what I'll do, I'll just go over the meaning one more time. So love bombing, that over the top showering of affection that feels sweet at first, but might just be manipulation wrapped in roses. Then we have breadcrumbing, when someone gives you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never the full loaf. Then we have gaslighting, making you question your own reality until you don't know what's up or down. Now, we're going to start with our first question. And because we do not have any guests tonight, I'm relying on your questions, and I will also share a thought or two. So my first question in the icebreaker section is, which sounds worst? Being love bombed, breadcrumbed, or gaslit? Honestly, in my opinion, I believe gaslighting is the worst. Why do I say that? Because with love bombing or breadcrumbing, you at least can see what's happening. Gaslighting, however, makes you question your memory, your judgment, even your sanity. That is why gaslighting is actually the worst because it hurts the most. And as you share your thoughts, I will read them as we go along. And as I share my own thoughts, you can agree or disagree. Now, can you give a funny or non-trauma example of breadcrumbing? Well, you know, I've had friends who they would check in. Hi, hello, we're talking, and then disappear, and then all of a sudden they're back again. No, let me explain this. Life is lifing, and everybody's busy. So I'm not referring to that, because I do have friends like when they call or they text, we can just pick up where we left off. So that's not the one I'm talking about. There are persons who come in and they make you feel like, hey, I am all into this. And then all of a sudden they disappear, then they return out of nowhere. That's the one I'm talking about. Now, imagine you are waiting 3 months for a text back, and finally, all you hear or see is, hey, how's life? Or you might be in the getting to know you stage, maybe on the verge of considering dating, I don't know. And somebody, initially, they were texting you right through the day. And then all of a sudden, when they do return your text or call, you hear them say, oh, I was busy. And so I'm hearing young ladies or even young men starting to say, hey, that is the key word nowadays, right? All of a sudden, they're busy. But at the initial stage, they found the time, right? So that's breadcrumbing. Just enough attention to keep you hooked, right? But there is no real investment. Or you're at the dating stage and they're texting you constantly, but there is no talk about the future. There's no talk about, going for a date, nothing. But they'll text you some fancy text. You have to be wondering if you're getting text from ChatGPT. Right? Because there is no real investment. And so I want to bring some scenarios to you, and maybe you can help me decide if it is love bombing, breadcrumbing, or is it gaslighting, right? So just for privacy, the names have been changed in these scenarios, right? So Keisha joins a new youth ministry. A brother instantly starts buying her lunch, posting her on his socials, and is now calling her wifey. And even though he's doing all of that, he still has not asked her to be his girl, right? But he has established all of that. They met, and as soon as she gave him the number and they spoke, he started doing these things. Sounds nice, right? However, 3 months later, he says she's not spiritual enough and he pulls away. The same young man who at the beginning was doing the most. And in her mind, okay, he's calling me wifey, he's putting up on his social. All right, I guess we're going somewhere. And then without having a discussion, he comes and he says, hey, you're not spiritual enough. This is not going to work. Now, the truth is, while dating, if you do realize that there are some red flags, you are encouraged to talk about them, right? But you're stringing somebody along, giving them false hope, and then out of the blue, you really knock them off their feet with that statement. Answer? All right, so I'm not seeing the responses. So I'm going to say that was love bombing. It was too much, too fast. And then as a result, it crashed. Why do I say that? Before the young man got a chance to know Keisha, to find out whether or not she was spiritual enough, he went ahead and started posting her on his social, started calling her wifey before he really got a chance to know her well enough to decide if this is a relationship he wanted to continue. So the important thing here is that persons need to understand the importance of slowing down. It's okay. Take your time. Slow down. All right. Now, here's another one. We have scenario 2. Jamal keeps DMing a sister and he keeps saying, "Good morning, beautiful," but never ask her out. And months pass. She doesn't hear from him. And then all of a sudden, he comes back. "Hi, sweetie." As if nothing happened. And all he's giving is just crumbs. And he disappears. He comes back. He texts again. And the thing about Jamal is that anytime he texts this young lady, as soon as he texts, she responds to him. But he starts to take a long time to respond to her. And this is definitely breadcrumbing. What Jamal is doing, he's trying to keep the young lady hooked, but there is no real investment. Here's another one. Now, at a joint service, a brother says to a young lady, he walks up to her and he says, "Listen, God revealed to me that you're my wife." But when she doesn't agree, he tells everyone, "Oh, she's just being rebellious." Because before he went and told her that, "Hey, God revealed to me," he said it to his friends before he approached her. So now him look bad. Right? Because this young lady is like, the message that you said you got from God, I didn't get it. We didn't get the same message. So I can't agree with you. And then he's telling everyone, "Oh, she's not going to work out. She's too rebellious. She's not listening." That is what you call spiritual love bombing. That is manipulation in the name of God. And we have to look out for those things, right? And I'm not saying that God does not reveal things to people. Don't get me wrong. But if you go up to somebody and say, "God revealed this," you cannot determine how the person is going to respond when you make those kind of statements, right? We cannot be responsible for how people respond when we share information with them. Now, last one in the scenarios. A young lady tells her family she does not feel loved. She feels unseen. She doesn't feel appreciated, even though she does a lot. And her other siblings, she can see that her other siblings get the attention and she doesn't. And she brings it to her family and they say to her, "Listen, you're too sensitive. You're too dramatic. We don't have time for that. We have given you everything that you need. Why are you complaining?" And this can be gaslighting, right? You're dismissing her feelings, making her doubt her worth. Now, tonight, while we're having the discussion, do you see yourself in any of these scenarios? Now let's get to the main discussion tonight. Why do people fall for love bombing even when it feels too good to be true? Why do we fall for it? Or why do people fall for it? Right? The reality is everybody needs love. Everybody craves love, right? And for some persons, affirmation is their love language. For others, attention is their love language. And so there are times when persons crave love, affirmation, and attention. Now, suddenly, overwhelming affection feels like fairy tale love, and you feel good, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel valued, right? However, while this may seem fast, real love is steady and it's consistent. So while we all crave love and attention and affection, love bombing is not consistent. How it starts out in the beginning, it crashes quickly. Love bombing is fast, it's flashy, and often it is manipulative. It's manipulative because at the beginning, this person who would be showing you the love may not necessarily wanted a future with you. They may have had different intentions at the beginning. And as a result, it now turns into love bombing. Now, my next question is breadcrumbing just keeping options open or emotional manipulation? What is it? Actually, breadcrumbing is emotional manipulation. It is. It gives someone just enough attention to keep them hopeful, but without real intention to invest. It is selfish and it is draining. Yeah. How do you tell gaslighting from disagreement? All right, let's look into that one. Disagreement is about options. Disagreement is not seeing eye to eye on a situation without feeling attacked by each other. Gaslighting, however, affects your reality. If someone says, hey, it's in your head, right? You're overreacting, or you sure? You sure I said that? Or that never happened. When it starts to make you doubt yourself, indeed, it is gaslighting. What happens here, when you go and explain to someone, you said this or you did this and it hurts my feelings, instead of acknowledging whether or not they intended to do it, this is how you feel and you're sharing it. Rather than acknowledging how you feel, they start to turn it around on you as if you're the reason, making yourself feel how you feel. Or it's all in your head. It's not real. This can happen at church. It can happen in the workplace. It can happen in friendships and even in relationships. Yes. Now, has social media and dating apps made breadcrumbing more common? Absolutely. The late night WYD, and I'm noticing that people now, when they're texting, they're using abbreviations, right? People don't really take the time anymore to write out words. And even when I get some text, or even when sometimes my students may write, I have to ask, what does this mean? Because I don't know, right? So persons say they'll get text like sup. What's sup? What do you mean? What is sup? Or late night WYD, right? You get those WYD late at night texts, right? Then you get those sporadic likes or those random DMs, keeping people hoping without real connection. So technology makes breadcrumbing way too easy. It sure does. Now, can love bombing ever be genuine affection? I am going to go out on a limb and say yes, right? Because there are times when if somebody is interested in someone, at the beginning, they want to give it their all, right? And sometimes because they want to impress and they want to be their best selves, and they want you to know how much they are interested, they may end up doing too much too early. And then as the relationship progresses, you may not have enough to top that up. Right? So you may become drained because now you have to keep up what you have started. And what you have started may not be something that was realistic in the beginning. So yes, sometimes love bombing can be genuine, right? But the difference is the consistency, right? And I've said it some time ago that one of the love languages, even though it wasn't mentioned, consideration is very much important, and consistency is what helps individuals to know that they are being considered in a relationship, right? So if their attention fades once you have, so they did everything to get you, right? They did everything, and now you finally say, yes, I'm going to give this relationship a chance. Then the attention starts to fade once you have decided to commit. So it wasn't love, it was just a tactic, and it didn't work. And now you find yourselves, or you find your heart being broken, right? So we're getting to the spicy, uncut decision, yes? So Michael says, it could be trying to get the attention. Yeah. So at the beginning, they're trying to get the attention of the young lady. That's exactly what it is. But after you get the attention, because you would have used up all your resources at the beginning, maybe spend up your money, buy flowers and all these things, you realize that you cannot maintain what you have started. And as a result, because love is slow and steady, and you rushed at the beginning, everything comes crashing down before you even got a chance to get to know each other. Another question. Have you ever realized after the fact that you were gaslit? Somebody gaslight you, and you realize a little bit too late, and you feel how you feel. You feel bad. Right? Usually it clicks when you tell someone outside the situation. So sometimes because you're in it, it may look like it's normal because you're not having the discussion with other people. But then you may decide to share your situation. And after sharing, you realize whenever, persons are saying, that's not normal, something wrong here. Right? And they say, wait, that really not normal, right? So hearing it from someone neutral helps you to see the truth. And while you're interested in someone and while you're dating, you may want to, some persons may want to keep their relationship private at the beginning while they're getting to know each other, right? And that is wise. But at the same time, if there's someone that you trust, you may want to have a conversation, right? To make sure that what you're thinking and what you're seeing is reality. Because there are some persons who may want to isolate you from others. And as a result, what you're feeling may not be real. And because you're the one in the situation, you may not realize it until you have a conversation with someone else, right? Now, Michael says maybe he realizes it's not worth his time after giving him a hard time. And that is fair too. But communicate that, right? You can't just drop. Communicate it. And that's one of the challenges we're having. And I would like to know, what does hard time look like? Because the reality is, if persons have been hurt before, they may want to take their time. And again, genuine love, it's not going to be quick. It's not going to be fast. It's something that's going to be slow and steady, right? So yes, the gentleman may get, or the woman may get a hard time at first, But then you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? And as you rightly say, sometimes it is, sometimes it is not, right? Now, who breadcrumbs more? Men or women? So, all right. So tonight I'm not going to be biased. I believe both do it, right? Both men and women breadcrumb each other. However, they just do it differently. So men may do it for their ego. It boosts the ego, or convenience. Women may do it for attention or safety. Either way, you're still manipulating the individual, right? Why do people enjoy the chase of being love bombed? That's a heavy one, right? Because there are times when men love to chase and women love to be chased, right? And I'm sure that this happens because the attention feels good. And I see that Mikey is texting. He may want to join me, actually. So he can share his thoughts on the matter, especially this one about the chasing, right? So attention feels good. Majority of persons, I would assume, love the attention, right? Attention makes you feel seen. Again, it makes you feel seen. It makes you feel valued. It makes you feel heard, right? Now, some persons may know that the attention is false. It's false attention. So even knowing that it is fleeting, just the excitement or the validation and the adrenaline rush, it feels so addictive, right? At the time, but in the end, it doesn't last. And I keep saying it. Love is slow and steady. That's the difference, right? Love bombing, it's beautiful at the beginning. They go all out for you at the beginning and you feel good, but it comes crashing down. Love bombing is fast, it's exciting, but it doesn't last. Love is slow and steady, right? Getting to know each other. Now, which hurts more? Being gaslit by a stranger or a loved one? Which hurts more? I would have to say that it would have to be by someone you love, because when you're gaslit by someone you love, it means that you would have let your guard down. It means that you would have become vulnerable around that individual, and to find out that you're being gaslit, it's not a good feeling, right? A stranger's words, they may hurt, but I think they bounce off because you don't know them well enough and they don't know you well enough. So they may make assumptions because they may not know your thought process. They may not know how you respond emotionally to things. So it may be easier for them to gaslight you and say what they assume. But when it is coming from a loved one, I believe it hits differently, because this should be somebody who has observed you, who would have had conversations with you and would have known, that, hey, this is not in the person's head. What they're saying actually makes sense, right? But I think betrayal from a loved one, it shakes your foundation. I believe it hits harder when you find yourself being gaslit by a loved one, in my opinion. All right? Can church folks love bomb too? Yes. Spiritual love bombing is real, right? At the beginning, where I said the person would say, God told me you're my spouse, right? Or over the top praise to control you. So there are times when persons know that, hey, if I just say this, it will hook them. That's just enough to get the person where I want them to be. I know this person, okay, so they're into scriptures. Let me send them a few scriptures, right? So I come across as very spiritual. Let me send them a few songs, right? So again, even though God would have told the individual, does what they're saying align with their actions? Okay. Now, one of the things I want to leave with us is that God's love doesn't manipulate. It doesn't. Actually, when we feel loved by God, we actually feel free. We do not feel controlled. We do not feel manipulated. That's the difference. So I had my scenario game. Let me see. I may have to answer them myself. That is fine. But we're going to play the quick game tonight, and we're going to call it Love Bomb, Breadcrumb, or Gaslight. Here we go. A brother. Mario says, wouldn't God speak to both parties? And that is my assumption exactly, right? I think if it is something that has to do with your future spouse, instead of somebody walking up to you to say, hey, guess what God told me? I think this is, and even if that's the case, then you would want to go into prayer together. You too would want to hear from God, right? To make sure that you're both on the same page. Yes. Thank you for that, Maria. A brother showers a new sister with gifts and the wifey talk, then disappears when she sets boundaries. So he calls her wifey, but then when she's saying, hey, until so-and-so, I will not do so-and-so, guess what? He disappears. What do we call that one? Love bombing. Yeah? A guy texts, good morning, beautiful, every few weeks, but never make plans. Breadcrumbing. A leader confronted about favoritism says, you're being divisive. Don't you trust your pastor? What happened here is that's gaslighting. At a joint meeting, someone says, God told me you're my spouse, then spreads rumors when told, no, I don't want to be with you. Even though God told you, I don't want this. They start to spread rumors. And that, at the initial stage, would have been spiritual love bombing, and then it goes haywire. A family member says, you're too dramatic. We have given you everything. That is gaslighting. So we're at the end, and here are few questions in the last segment. How do these toxic patterns distort the real meaning of love? Real love in 1 Corinthians 13, it is patient, it is kind, and it is truthful. Love bombing, breadcrumbing, and gaslighting twist it into control and selfishness. Love should not build you up, then throw you down instantly, right? It should not confuse you or control you. When you are around somebody who says they love you, do you feel chaos or do you feel peace? That determines, sometimes you're around some people and you literally feel sick. You're around some persons and all of a sudden you get this anxiety. And then you can be around persons and you just feel this peace, this calm, just being around the individuals. It's always good to watch out for that, right? How can someone heal after being manipulated? So if there's anyone here tonight who experienced love bombing, breadcrumbing, or gaslighting, I'm sorry to hear that. And I'm sorry that happened to you. And so you may be wondering, how do you heal? And it seems simple, right? It seems simple, but the reality is it can hurt. manipulation can hurt. First thing I'm going to encourage you to do is to anchor in God's word. Remember who God says you are. Anchor yourself in the word. His words will tell you. Nowhere in the Bible did Jesus manipulate anybody. Nowhere in the Bible did he gaslight anybody. Nowhere in the Bible did he love bomb anybody. Stand on the word. Another thing, rebuild your self-worth outside of the relationship. There are persons who only feel valuable if they're in a relationship. There are persons who only feel seen if they're getting the attention from the opposite sex. But tonight, I want to remind persons, rebuild your self-worth outside of the relationship. So even if you're in a relationship, remember to take some time for yourself, right? It is okay to do your me time, male or female, it doesn't matter. It is important for you to spend some time with yourself, away from everybody, just you. Because the reality is, if everything and everyone goes away, who do you have left? Yourself. And if you do not learn to love who you are, you're going to run into problems. Because if you do not know how to affirm yourself, if you do not know how to stand on the word, you're going to fall into these manipulative tricks over and over again. Because what happens is you start to seek for the love and the attention and the affirmation from others and not from God and yourself. It is lovely when your partner pour into your emotional cup, but you have to learn to do that, right? I was told a long time ago that we cannot pour from empty cups. We can't. Right? And somewhere our cups have to be filled. And if nobody's filling it, we have to learn to fill it for ourselves. Is it easy? No. But every day you wake up, if God has given you another day to breathe and to be, I want you to pour into you, build your self-worth, right? Out of whether or not you have a partner. Because I know that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't care what anybody else say. I stand on that. I stand on that. And I want to remind somebody tonight that you are handsome, you are beautiful. And you see, beauty, while we look at this, right? It's from within. If I were to gauge my beauty on my weight, I would be most miserable. Right? So I have to look within to say, hey girl, you're nice. Yes. And this is not me being selfish. This is not me being, having this prideful spirit. No. This is me anchoring my faith in what God told me, and I stand on that. So rebuild your self-worth. Do not allow others to manipulate you and make you feel less of yourself. If somebody love bomb you, that's on them, not you. If somebody gaslight you, that's on them, not you. If somebody breadcrumb you, that's on them, not you. Shame on them. Shame on them. But do not say, how did I make this happen? There are some good manipulators. There are people who literally sit and study you. There are people who knows when you're happy and when you're sad. Right? And so persons do not only target children, they target adults. So they sit and they watch you and they say, okay, how am I going to get this one? And sometimes at the beginning of relationship, they'll say to you, oh, I want to get to know you. What makes you upset? What would cause you to leave? What they are doing is to get the information from you so they can love bomb you And at the beginning, they feel you out and know your kind of personality. And they'll say, oh, if I gaslight this one, or if I work on their mind, if I start to make them feel like they can't do without me, right? They start to give you little breadcrumbs. So they go away and they come back. Because what? They don't want you now. But they're testing the temperature to see if they text you, you're going to respond. That is the day and age we are living in. And I've seen young ladies crumble. I've seen, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men. Please hear me out. But most of the conversations I have had, I've had them with women. Right? Because I believe that these things can happen to men as well. And they do happen. Right? But tonight, I'm encouraging us to claim back, right? Claim back your self-worth. Do not tie that to anybody. Tie that in Jesus. Because I promise you, he will never do those things to you. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. Right? One way, another way. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you. She said, amen. Food for the soul. Thank you for joining us, sister. Seek counsel from trusted friends or mentors, right? I am hoping that persons have friends in their circle who can pray for them, who can give them wise counsel, who will not be subjective but objective, right? So whenever you start to feel like, hey, something is off, and the truth is, whenever we start to feel like something is off, I promise you, something is off. Something is not right. Right? And we may call it spirit of discernment. We may call it gut feeling. But whatever you call it, trust it. Right? Because whenever that happens, something is definitely not right. And set boundaries. Set boundaries from the beginning. That is how you protect your peace. Right? Because if you don't set boundaries as much as you like the individual, there are persons who will manipulate. There's no going around it. They will. And so to protect your peace, set boundaries. And when you set these boundaries, persons will either up and go or they will stay. They will respect you. And there are persons too, I hope when you set the boundaries, they'll respect you enough to say, okay, all right, this is not for me. And that is okay too, because we are not everybody's cup of tea. That is fine. What are some practical boundaries that could help persons to avoid these traps? Well, don't rush intimacy. Test consistency over time. Recognize the red flags early. Not only recognize them, but also don't ignore them. Don't ignore them, right? Keep your identity rooted in Christ, not in someone else's attention. And when you are around the individual, does this love bring you peace or confusion? Family, here's the truth. Love bombing, breadcrumbing, and gaslighting are all about control. But God's love doesn't. It has never and will never control. It actually sets us free. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 13, and I said it before, love is patient. Love is kind. Love rejoices in the truth. So if it feels rushed, if it feels half-hearted, if it feels confusing, then it's not love. Tonight, let's remember, we don't settle for crumbs. We don't get blinded by bombs. And we sure don't bow to gaslight flames. Anna, we stand in the light of God's love because his love is the real thing, and talking about love, I would like to send happy birthday greetings to Mrs. Edgar. That's Mr. Edgar's wife. He's a part of the Flash family, and we want to send happy birthday greetings to Empress Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett's wife, right? So we want to send happy birthday greetings to Mrs. Bennett. Let me get it right. Not Mrs. Edgar, but Mrs. Bennett. And from all of us here from the Flashpoint and Flash Fam family, we just want to wish you a wonderful year ahead filled with love, abundant blessings, good health, and happiness. Happy birthday, my dear. This was Flash Talk, the Uncut Edition. And as you go about your week, I encourage you to make the choice to say no. Say no to crumbs now. You deserve better. You deserve the whole loaf. Say no to crumbs, right? No to love bombs and no more flames. You deserve more than that. And Antoinette says, happy birthday, Mrs. Bennett. Remember to walk in the freedom of God's love. And as the song said before, love can build a bridge. Love is slow and steady because you know how long it takes to build a bridge. Right? So remember that. Love can build a bridge, not only between you and someone else, but between you and God himself. How is that? Because when we walk in the freedom of God's love, we feel it. We know that his love is the real deal. If you are not sure about anybody else's love, I want to remind us to know tonight that the love of God is real. Have yourselves a wonderful week. Until next time. Bye.
Gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand. But love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Uncut Edition. Say it just how you feel it.
No filters, no fluff, just real talk with the full Flashpoint fam. Get with it.
From hot takes to belly laughs, the crew is locked in and ready.
From debates that might get a little spicy, including all VIP members.
This is where vibes meets voice, jokes meets truth, and we talk things.
We are here to get real.
It's raw. It's real. And it's about time.
Small island, but big conversations.
This is Flash Talks, the Uncut Edition. Flash Fam. What are the things then now?
Real people, real voices, real conversations.
Flash Talk, the Uncut Edition, at 7 p.m. every Thursday, right here